it's Mark Nelson. There's been a lot of talk lately about MCP, or Model Context Protocol, and how you can do all kinds of amazing things using MCP together with your large language models. You may know that Oracle SQLcl is an MCP server that lets you access kinds of features in the Oracle database. In this video, I wanted to take a look at what can you actually do with it. Now, the video is kind of long, but I've put markers in the comments below so you can jump just to the sections that you're interested in. In this video, I'm using a Claude desktop and I'm running SQLcl here in Visual Studio. You just jump into the extensions panel and search for Oracle SQL. And here it is right here, Oracle SQL Developer for VS Code. See, I have a database connection defined and I've connected to my database. I've got a couple of tables. So I am ready to go. In Claude Desktop, I've gone here into the settings to the developer section, and I've added a MCP server, SQLcl. I'll show you what the configuration looks like. You can see it's just pointing to the SQLcl program with the MCP argument. So let's see what we can do. We're going to get started by asking it to connect to our database. And it is now going to use that MCP server. You can see it's using the connect tool, and it is trying to connect to Oracle. And here it's giving us a little bit of information about the database that it has connected to. So let's ask it, what tables do I have? Now it's using the run SQL tool you can see here, and it's coming back with an answer that we have these three tables that are owned by the user PDB admin. They're in the user's table space. So I would like to now create an e-commerce application, and I'm going to ask it to create some sample tables and data for me. So let's see, you can see again, it's using the run SQL. That's going to be a theme throughout. And it is hopefully setting up a e-commerce application for us. Now you can open up these little tool windows and see what's going on. You can see the details of what they're doing. Okay, and so it looks like it has finished creating the tables, and now it is loading some sample data for us. Right, so it says it's created an e-commerce database schema. Looks like we have products, customers, orders, all the things that we would expect. So that's great. We have about 8 tables there. And of course, it'll have all of the relationships between them and so on. So let's go ahead and ask it to create an entity relationship diagram so we can visualize what our database schema looks like. Okay. So again, we should see it collect some information from the database, and then it's going to create the diagram for us. You notice on the right-hand side there, it's creating the source code for that diagram, and here is the visual form. So here we go. We have, let's see, a products table here, a categories table. Here's our customer table. So we can see all the fields and types and the relationships and so on. Okay, that's great. So that really helps us understand what our database looks like. So now let's have a look at some of our data. So let's ask for the first order. All right, order number 1. We see this was for John Doe in New York. He ordered a iPhone 15 Pro. Great. So let's take a look at um, let's take a look at how much was spent in each category of products in each month. Actually, let's just look at per category for a start. How much was spent on each category of products? Okay, so it looks like we have electronics and clothing and some other categories with no sales yet. So I would like to see this in a graphical format. So let's ask, could you graph that data, please? Okay, again, you can see it is creating the visualization for us. And here we go. So we can see a nice bar chart with the categories and the spending, revenue distribution. So yeah, that's great. Let's see, what else can we do? Um, why don't we ask it to create a JSON relational duality view with customer as the base table? Of course, this will allow us to view our data in JSON format, which makes it much easier for developers to work with the data. Don't need to worry about relation tables, all that kind of stuff. So let's see, we can see it is creating the view for us. Looks like it is now going to do a query to show us how it works. And let's see what we come up with here. You can remember, you can always open these out and see the details of what's going on. So you see the JSON data here. Okay, looks like it is finished. So it's created some, oh no, it's still going. Here we go. So it's showing us some examples of how to use JSON value, JSON serialize. Okay, that's great. So let's take a look at the first customer in the customer duality view. All right, it is doing a run SQL. Let's see what we get back. All right, customer number one, John Doe. And there's his details, his addresses, his orders. Great. And it's also telling us a little bit about the benefits of JSON. So now let's actually ask it to give us the actual JSON document and to pretty print that for us. Okay. So it is running the query, and here comes our JSON document. All right, that looks pretty good, but I would like to see the line items under the orders there. So let's ask, can you update the customer duality view so that orders includes the line items? All right. And hopefully it will, yeah, it is. It's actually going to do a query and show us an example. Great. So each order now contains an array of line items, it says there, and you can see them in here. So that's great. Let's also, again, ask it for the actual JSON format. It's a little bit easier to read. Okay, and let's get the second customer this time. All right, and here we go. And there you can see the line items underneath the order there. Great. Okay, let's try something else. Let's update. So let's ask it if it can help us to create a query to update the price of the Nike Air Max 270, which is $150 here. Let's update that to $125 using the Duality View. Let's see what happens. Okay, so again, it's showing us some different alternatives here. Okay, so it looks like maybe that view did not have update on that field or entity, so it looks like it's doing a little bit of work here, and it's figured out a way to do it. Okay, yeah, see, it's telling us the duality view that it created had read-only data for the, so it looks like it has decided to actually update it a different way. Okay, and then we see here the price is 125. Great. So let's just check what duality views do we actually have in the database now. All right. Looks like we have customer. We have customer orders, products. Okay. And this is giving us, again, some useful examples of how to use these. So um, let's have a look at the Nike Air Max in the products duality view, and let's ask it for the actual JSON document. Okay, great. Super. And yeah, notice it is 125. We have 50 units in stock. There's a bunch of details there. All right, great. So now let's say, could you show me revenue by product by month? Let's try and get it by month this time. Okay, looks like it's run a couple of queries, and here's our answer. Okay, so, all right. Looks like we only have 1 month worth of data, so that's not very interesting. So let's ask it to generate some more sample data for some additional months, so that we have orders spread across several months. Okay, and there it goes, running a bunch of statements. All right, looks like it's adding some orders. Adding some line items. Okay. All right, so let's take a look now. What's going to give us the updated revenue by product by month? All right, so it looks like we have August, July, June, May. We have a few months now, so that's great. Some more data to work with. All right, now let's ask it to graph that data for us. Okay. Because again, it's just creating the visualization on the right-hand side there, and then that will display that for us. Here we go. So, all right, total revenue. Got my trend. Here's a breakdown by products, looks like, and by category. All right, very interesting. Okay. So now I would like to know, let's see, can you show me customer addresses, please? I'm going to take a look at where our customers are located. Okay, it's running a query. Let's see. Okay, so we have New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Seattle, Miami. Okay. So our customers are spread out a little bit. So now what I would like to do is, let's see, let's ask it to update the customer addresses in the database, and let's add in some geolocation spatial data. Spatial data for the addresses. Okay, let's see what happens here. All right, looks like it is doing the updates for us. Okay, and it's going to show us what that looks like. So you can see it has added latitude and longitude, and also a location in the SDO geometry format, which lets us do spatial analysis. So let's ask it to give us a list of the customers that are within, let's say, 1,000 miles of Reno, Nevada, using the spatial data. Okay. Can you use the spatial data to show me all the customers within 1,000 miles of Reno, Nevada? Okay. All right, so it looks like we have 3 customers within that area, and we have some that are not. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so now I want to create a graph view on top of my tables so that I can do some sort of graph analytics. So let's ask for a graph view. Okay. And it looks like it is going to give us some examples here. So we have a sales analytics view, a customer analytics view, and a product performance, and a few other ones here. All right. It's giving me a lot of useful information about what I can use these kinds of graph views for. So now let's ask, can you create a visual representation of the, let's see, maybe the product performance graph view? Okay, let's see what that looks like. All right, we have revenue, performance. Okay, it looks interesting. Now, I'd also like to see the relationships in my database as a graph. So let's ask if it can create a force-directed graph of, let's see, probably customers and orders. Let me spell that right. Okay. All right. Here we go. Very nice. So we can see the customers are those kind of light blue, cyan colored there. And the orders are the smaller dots. So green looks like it means delivered. Okay. And let's scroll in a little here. We see some of our customers that we saw earlier, John Doe, Jane Smith. Let's see, we got a blue one here, processing. Okay, so the colors are the different order statuses. All right, so next, I would like to create a Spring Boot microservice application that provides REST APIs that allow me to create, update, um, and view product information from my database. So let's say, could you uh, please create me a starter project? And let's say, just to make sure that it understands what I want the database integration to. So let's see. Okay, here it goes. There's a POM file, a Spring config file. This looks like some data access objects. That looks like some APIs there, some REST APIs. Okay, looks like it's creating some tests for me and some documentation. All right, great. That looks like it has got everything that I need. And indeed, it's telling us here it's got data validation, database integration, testing. Okay, that's great. And here's how we can use it. Sample API calls. All right, great. That's very helpful. So now let's see. Let's take another look at that POM file. I'd like to update the POM file. Looked like it was using Hikari. I'd like it to actually use the Spring Boot starter for Oracle UCP. I want to use universal connection pools so I can get better availability in a cluster or distributed database. So let's ask it to update the POM file to use the Spring Boot starter for Oracle UCP from the Spring Cloud Oracle project instead of Hikari connection pools. All right, so let's see. Here we go. There's generating UCP configuration for me. That's great. And it looks like it's giving me both the file-based config as well as the Java config. And it's updated the dependencies, excluded Hikari from some of those other libraries. Okay, great. Good. And yeah, it's telling me a little bit more about why I might want to use UCP. Super. So let's take a look here and find the POM file. Okay, here's our dependencies. Notice it's excluding Hikari in those two, and there is the dependency for the Spring Boot starter for UCP. Super. Now, I notice it seems to be using the exe image here, and I'd like to use a different one. So let's also ask it, can you add a Docker file um, so that I can build a container image for my microservice? And let's see, I would like to use the Oracle database free 23 AI image, not the XE image. Okay, let me just fix that. Okay. All right, let's see. So here we go. It's creating a Docker file for me. Super. Okay. Notice it changed the URL to free PDB1 instead of XE for the SID. So it's picked up that image that I wanted. So, okay, that is great. Now I see it's creating the tables and things, sequences and so on. But I don't see any of the sample data. So let's ask it now. Uh, yeah, this is just the schema objects. Okay, so let's ask, can you update the project? Um, update the project so that my sample data is populated into the database. Okay, let me just fix this. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. It tells me it's going to add some SQL scripts. That's great. And let's see. Here we go. Insert into categories, insert into products. All right, that looks good. Let's just let that finish. Okay, super. All right. So now let's just let that finish what it was doing. Okay, let's see. It's giving us some useful information here about how to use the container, see how many products and categories and so on. All right. Very helpful. Development and testing. That's great that it created the tests for us as well. Okay, so now let's see. No, I think I noticed that it was using an older version of Spring Boot and also of the JDBC driver. So let me ask, can you check if any of the dependencies in the POM have any known vulnerabilities, any known security vulnerabilities? Because that is a big concern. We want to make sure that we don't introduce any security issues. So let's see. Looks like it is finding some, and it is updating the POM file to fix those problems. See, it went up from Spring Boot 3.2 to 3.4. Great. Okay, and here is some information about what it found and the changes that it made. Great. Okay, let's see. What else can we do? Let's see. I want to make sure I have good performance. Let's ask, can you recommend any indexes that I should create in my database to ensure the best performance of my e-commerce application? Okay, looks like it's running a query to see what indexes I have. And it's now suggesting some indexes for orders, products, reviews. Okay. Just notice I have some JSON views, so it's giving me some advice specific for JSON. Okay, and it's also telling me how I can monitor my indexes. That's great. So it asked me there if it would like for me to create the indexes. So I just said yes. Please go ahead and create them. So it is doing that now. Okay, it looks like it's now going to check. Created 22 indexes. Great. That should really make my application perform really well. Now let's do something a bit more complicated. So let's say, assuming that I have two distribution centers in Reno, Nevada and Allentown, Pennsylvania, and that all orders ship from the nearest distribution center, except for phones, which always ship from Reno, and that my shipping cost is 2 cents per mile traveled. All deliveries are made by road freight. Let's see. Can you create a chart showing the total shipping cost per month? Okay, so let's see. You're going to see it's running a query to go and get some data. Running a couple of queries. Okay. Now it says it is analyzing the data. So let's see what we get. Notice it's got the latitude and longitude there of my two distribution centers. Okay, here comes the chart. All right. Okay, great. Here we go. Shipping analysis. Let's see the shipping costs for each month, the average number of miles. All right. Let's see. Now let's ask it. Um, I want to estimate my shipping costs for the next 6 months. So let's see. Can you create a Python program using the data? Um, let's see, to perform a gradient descent to find a line of best fit. And also tell me the estimated costs for the next 6 months based on that line. And then plot the line and also give me an exponential moving average on a graph. Okay, let's see. So here we go. It's creating the gradient descent. That looks pretty good. Okay, so it's given me some code that will allow me to perform that analysis. So let's go ahead and ask it to actually run the program and show us the results. Display the results, please. Okay. All right. This one might take a moment. Here we go, analyzing the data. And a bunch more analysis. We just fast forwarded there. And here comes the visualization. Okay, let's just continue. And let's see what we get. Okay, here comes our chart. this would take a long time for me to write all this code myself and create charts. So this is really very helpful. All right, here we go. Here's my shipping costs. I've got my actuals in red. You can see my line of best fit. The blue line looks like there. And an exponential moving average. And it looks like it's created an R-squared score for me to check the performance of the gradient descent. And it's giving me a lot of other information here. So that is great. Now, what's it telling me? The trend suggests you could reach unsustainable levels. Okay, so let's say, how could I stabilize the growth in my shipping costs? Can you suggest some strategies? Let's see. All right. Add more distribution centers, micro fulfillment. Okay, negotiation, different kinds of shipping options here. Okay, customer behavior modification. Okay, I'll think about that. Great. Okay, it's given me some ideas here. But now that I think about it, if my sales are going up, I don't know if it's really a problem that my shipping costs going up. So let's say, could you please repeat the analysis? But look at my revenue in the database, and consider the shipping costs as a percentage of revenue. Let's see, is the shipping cost as a percentage of revenue also growing problematically? And let's ask for a graph of a line of best fit and an exponential moving average, two of my favorite statistical functions. All right, let's see. Run SQL, so it's off to the database to get some data. Now it looks like it is analyzing. And here comes our visualization. Let's see what we get. All right, well, let's continue. And okay, so this looks a little better. So see we have a aggressive forecast, conservative forecast. Got my exponential moving average there. Good news, your shipping percentages are within industry benchmarks. Okay, so this looks a lot better. So this is good. This is good. Okay, it looks like we still have some recommendations here. So again, that's really helpful to be able to do this kind of analysis with my data. So now let's try something different. Let's see, who are my top 3 customers, and do they have anything in common? Do they have any common characteristics? Let's see, run SQL. So it's off to the database to get some information. Looks like it's checking on products that they've bought, geographic information using the spatial data. Now it's doing some analysis. Okay, here we go. Here's our top 3 customers. Looks like they're all about the same age. They all live in large metropolitan areas. They've all ordered within the last few months. Okay, looks like they buy phones. All right. Good. That sounds interesting. Okay. All right. It says my DC strategy effectively serves high value customers. Okay, so I also would like to think about sharding my database. So let's ask, I would like to migrate to Oracle Globally Distributed Database instead of just one database. So could you suggest appropriate OCI data center locations and also appropriate sharding keys? Okay, so let's see what we get here. Okay, it's off to the database to collect some information and doing some analysis. Okay, and looks like it is recommending 3 data centers, and it's actually generating some code for us here. So it's not just giving us sharding keys, it's actually generating SQL statements so that we can set that up in our database. Looks like it's using the state as the sharding key. It's giving me details of indexes, how to connect to the different shards. Looks like it's also giving me some code to help with migration of the data. Right, so this is a lot of really helpful information. All right, there's the 3 data centers. There's our sharding key, the state. It's giving me some details about how I can implement this. All right, super. Now, also, I would like to set up transactional event queue to publish notifications of new orders in JSON format. So let's ask it to create some PL/SQL to define the queues and also to set up message propagation between 2 of the locations here. And this looks good. You can see it had all the queue definitions. This here is the notification. It's also giving me some monitoring code to monitor the queue health. So this looks, again, very helpful. Great. So JSON-based payload, priority-based messaging, multiple queue types, automatic triggers, schedule propagation, monitoring, security access control. Great. This looks very helpful. Again, it would have taken me quite a while to write that code myself, so that really is a big help. So that's been a look at some of the great things that you can do using the SQLcl Model Context Protocol Server to make it really easy to have your large language model work together with your Oracle database. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.